Welcome to Talk About Nerds, a bi-weekly, always geeky podcast about all things nerd. My name is Sindre, and with me I have my magically gifted friend, Åvar.
Hello.
And my younger edition, the jockiest of nerds, Kenneth.
G'day.
This podcast is a product of Nords and Nerds, a media group where we stream D&D on Mondays, Magic the Gathering on Tuesdays, and Warhammer on Wednesdays every week. Today's episode is sponsored by Victory Point, your local hobby store in Bryne, Norway. Victory Point has a large gaming area where the communities and in-store play are the number one priority.
Victory Point, the starting point of your victories.
Okay, boys, brother, everyone, it's been a while. It's not easy.
Far too long.
It's not easy getting a bi-weekly podcast out.
No, apparently not.
So I am heavily lying when I say bi-weekly Always Geeky.
Mm-hmm.
Only one of those is true.
Yes.
But we are trying to get back to bi-weekly. We've had some COVID, some glandular disease, as it's called.
I think it's called mono.
Mono is the
in English
sort of popular name.
Yeah, I think it's like mononucleosis.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also called in Norwegian kissing disease.
Yeah, kyssesyken.
In Norwegian.
I like that better. Kissing disease.
Kissing disease.
And the best part is he got this from his girlfriend.
Possibly, yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, how are you doing, Åvar?
I'm doing well. I haven't been sick for like 2 weeks.
Ooh, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And you?
I'm still a little bit sick. Still not allowed to do everything that I'm used to doing. I haven't exercised properly for almost 2 months now.
Oh, so you've joined the club.
Yep.
Of not exercising.
Well, I did. I did lift yesterday. Other than that, I haven't lifted for 2 months.
And you, Kenneth?
I'm lifting right now.
That's the only thing he lifts all week.
Yeah, lifting fake sugar.
By drinking Monster. And I'm doing good. I've been sick as well. That's been going around lately. I do not have the kissing sick.
Kissing
disease.
I was down with the flu.
Getting down with the sickness.
Getting down
Get up
with the
and
sickness.
get down with the...
So I'm a bit down with that still, but it's getting there. So maybe we should try going forward to get a bi-weekly podcast instead of bi-monthly.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
I would like that.
And if somebody remembers to start recording when we play in our board game videos, maybe we'll be able to keep on schedule.
Yeah, we did successfully record Wingspan last week.
Yeah,
so things are looking up.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yes,
it's a fun game. It's not the first time we've played it. It's probably not this last time, but
yeah,
more on that at the end of this episode.
Yes.
So keep listening.
Yes, please do.
So, have you done anything geeky in the last, month or two?
Month, approximately, yes. Well, I was going to start playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons. With one of our streamers you can check out, Benjamin. He was going to be the GM or DM for us old schoolers.
So, Game Master or
Game
Dungeon Master?
Dungeon Master can be construed as something else. So Game Master, I feel, is better and it's more modern.
I prefer Dungeon Master.
I do as well.
But you can't call it Dungeon Master unless it's for Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly.
Because it's trademarked.
I know.
But yeah, you haven't started playing yet?
Unfortunately, sickness and health things, not mine, but health things have popped up.
Yeah.
So no game for me yet. But I have made my character.
Ooh, funny.
Yes, it's very fun. I can talk about it now or some next time maybe.
Yeah, it might be more fun to talk about after your first session.
Yeah, I think so. Kenneth?
No, I was just saying bard. You should be a bard.
I like the bard in 5e.
Yeah, bards are fun.
Yes, my character this time is artificer, kind of.
Ooh, those are also fun. They're harder to play though.
Yes,
especially in the lower levels. They have certain tools that make them very overpowered in certain areas.
Oh, yeah,
but it depends on how you build them. For example, it also depends on the DM you have and how sort of advanced they play.
I would say that the most important parts for playing D&D is the people you play with. Amongst others, the DM or GM needs to be able to adapt to a certain degree.
Yeah.
They are... I don't know what the best definition for it. But in my mind, the GM is kind of the storyteller, in the sense that he or she or whatever has to adapt to what the players do. So you have to have a certain capability of improvisation to just change your plans as they go. Me personally, I have GM'd a couple of times, not that much, but a couple of times, and it has a tendency to go off the rails rather quickly.
Yeah.
What about you, Sindre?
Well, I'm DMing every week,
Yes.
hopefully successfully.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the feedback I've gotten so far tells me I am doing it okay.
Yes.
They're having fun. I haven't actually DM'd now for a few weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks? No, more than 3 weeks, actually.
No more. But as far as I'm aware, Kenneth has not GM'd, but he has played D&D, has he not?
I played one time.
And you were...
What class I was?
Yes.
I have no clue. Played something. I played something and rolled dice.
Probably a fighter or barbarian, I think.
I don't know.
I think he might have played a rogue, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Sindre was the enemy. Yeah, because I used stealth and went behind the...
The enemies?
No, at the tavern. And I stole back my money that I
For
used
fuck's
to
sake.
buy information from. So I bought information from the dude behind the counter and I went back and stole it back. That's the only thing I remember, actually.
And he also jumped in front of a train.
Yeah, and
What?
I remember also I tried to feed a robot dog an imaginary apple or something like that.
What?
Imaginary bone.
Do you mean a fake bone or an imaginary bone?
No, I could use some... I don't know what the spells are called. It was a mechanical dog. And I used a spell to make it
Look like you had a bone. Yes.
see
Yeah,
a bone.
spell.
Apparently that spell doesn't work on mechanical dogs or something like that.
Probably thaumaturgy.
I don't know. Maybe you were a sorcerer, a cleric.
No, it might have been arcane trickster.
No, I don't think they had anything that in advance.
No, it was just making someone look, see something that wasn't
Yeah,
there.
but it might have been a high elf and had thaumaturgy.
Maybe. I don't know.
We don't know.
But that's what I remember. I remember that
We
D&D
don't
is
know.
not necessary for me, but if I actually went in and tried it as a DM, I think it actually could be pretty fun.
Oh.
But as a player, I don't think it's my kind of game.
I actually slightly agree because I've only played D&D like maybe 6-7 sessions as a player, and it's been fun, but nowhere near as fun as being a DM for me. The experience of being a DM is just so different than playing D&D.
I do agree with that. It is entirely different because you are less a passenger on the story happening and more the director or the train driver.
The storyteller.
Mm.
And sort of for me, being a player is too slow paced. Even in smaller groups, it's just, but that's just because I'm so used to being a DM. I'm so used to my head going 110 from the time we sit down at the table until we're done. I'm always like 10 steps ahead. And when you're 10 steps ahead as a player, it just gets boring because I've already done this discussion in my head. I've already gone there. I've already fought this monster. I'm done. I'm thinking about what's coming next. But that's like 7 hours and 2 sessions in the future.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of the same where I predict what's going to happen. Because I've also been a GM, I can kind of read what's going to happen in the same way you're talking about. And you, as a player then, after having been a GM, you kind of zone out for like 4 or 5 rounds. How many rounds are like not yours?
Yeah.
Which is kind of bad when you're a player.
And
But I haven't played in a while, so I'm hoping this new game will be good.
I sort of have the biggest problem in combat. Because 2 seconds after my turn is done, I'm already ready for my next 3-4 turns. And then you have the rest of the tables like getting to their turn, and it's just like, okay, what am I going to do? And then reading their spells.
But that's less a question of you being a GM, it's more a question of you having a lot of experience in D&D.
Yeah.
Because you know, like, oh, I need this spell right now because I know this spell does this
Yeah.
For example, if you're on a mountain plateau and your enemy is facing towards you and you cast grease on the ground beneath them and push them off.
Yeah.
Bye.
I also think it has a little bit to do with the kind of groups I've been playing with. I haven't been a
Possibly.
player in a heavy RP group.
Mm.
I've been a DM in heavy RP groups.
Yes, obviously.
As you can all see on Tuesdays, if you watch Mondays,
Mondays
if you
or
watch
on YouTube.
Destiny by Dice, or on YouTube, yeah, if you
Yes.
search for Destiny by Dice on our channel.
Which is the entirely first season is complete now.
Entire season is up. The finale was actually today. It aired a little bit late due to the same sickness that's been going
Yes.
around for everyone.
Mm.
And holidays.
Some people died.
I remember with a spell I cast. It was minor illusion.
Oh,
Minor illusion.
so
yeah.
probably a wizard or sorcerer.
Yeah.
But can they go stealth?
You could you
Every-
could have been a
everyone can
warlock.
be-
You could have been a warlock actually.
The thing about D&D is that everyone can be stealthy. Everyone can do
Yeah.
everything. It's
Okay.
just
Well, everyone except the paladin.
yeah.
Can
he can try.
Yeah.
Everyone can try.
Yes.
Can everyone cast minor illusion?
No.
No.
No, okay.
That's why
that would
you were
be-
not a rogue.
Minor illusion would be warlock, sorcerer, wizard, bard, artificer.
Possibly, yeah.
I think that's about it. You can be arcane trickster, but that's a subclass.
Yeah.
Mm.
So probably a
But yeah.
warlock
for me-
then, and just using
Mm.
sneak or something.
Yeah. Everyone can sneak or stealth, whatever you want to call it.
Could have been a bard.
A little bit about.
Can always be a bard in 5e. Bard is best class.
No, because I didn't sing,
Oh, right, yeah.
and you need to sing if you're bard.
No,
Yeah,
you can play an instrument and not sing anything.
Yeah,
You have
you,
to
you, you don't have to sing, but you should sing because it's
Mm.
cool.
You're not playing
I would.
bard well enough if you don't sing.
I would.
That's good. I'm gonna kill everyone. No.
No.
No. Okay.
I would cast lightning bolt and go. Na 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 na. Thunder.
Oh, I wish I could join sort of like a D&D group outside of the stream as well.
Mm.
It's so much fun.
Yes.
It's a very different environment when you're not playing on stream than on stream. I do love the on stream because it forces all the players to be very engaged and interactive and do the RPing
Yeah.
to the fullest. That really rarely happens on a home game.
True. Well, it depends on your players.
Yeah, rarely.
True.
But on a home game, you get the sort of the fun, the chill, and the sort of drinking and playing and
Mm.
having just
The home games are where you experience. I throw the halfling.
Yeah.
Literally, just yeet.
those are the most fun
Mm.
when it comes to just casual D&D. But I've never had what I have now with a home game group.
No.
Nowhere close.
Mm.
Especially if you have players who are like playing but they're not 100% invested. You can have someone like have their phone up and watching a football game while you play.
Yeah, and I feel for me that's as a DM that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because we've taken time out of our free time to come together and have an adventure together. Because even as the GM, you are playing the game. You know what's going to happen, yes, but you don't know what your players are going to do. You're all building a story together. You as the GM are the one that has to try and keep the story relevant for what the players want to do and to keep the players somewhat involved in the story you've planned. You can't always do that, but that's kind of why it's a collaborative storytelling game. That's usually what D&D or role-playing games in general, not only D&D, but they are usually described as a cooperative storytelling game, and that includes the players and the GM.
Yeah. Something I'm a bit impressed by, though, after coming into this world, is seeing how much work the DMs put into their stories. It's like, it's not just, okay, we're going to play today and meet up and play and do it on the spot. It's like hours and hours beforehand.
Well, yes, but you can have the ones where you just meet up. But I would say if you do that, dice rolling is not centric for the campaign.
Yeah.
You just like, so what do you do? I go outside. Outside, you find a village. If you're really good at improvisation, you can do that, but it will be severely less structured.
And it also depends heavily on what the DM prefers and what they do.
Of course.
Sort of like, I have a style where everything is custom,
Mm.
and I plan a lot, but I also improvise a lot. We could also just pick up a module, run a game tomorrow, and I wouldn't even need to do anything more than read a few chapters of a book.
Mm.
Maybe
Like
15 to 20 minutes of preparation.
a little bit more than that probably, but you'd not need to read more than like 10 pages, possibly, to run a module for one campaign.
So when I prepared for Adventurers League, especially when I'd already run the module before, I just showed up to the day, read quickly through the sort of like quick notes, and then started playing. But for my weekly games, I spend probably at least as much time preparing as I do on camera, which means at least 4 hours a week.
It's a lot of work.
Or 8 hours a week with the play and the prepare.
And then it comes back to what Åvar said with like being disrespectful when you're playing with the DM.
Yeah.
Because if the DM is putting that many hours in, it's outside of the actual game. You need respect to it actually.
Yeah.
Do
it's a lot of work. And for my games, I also make the entire world, I make the entire setting, I make everything. So currently we're working on getting ready for our season 2 of Destiny by Dice. And I've spent, I can't even tell how many hours I've spent just writing, thinking, messaging, talking.
Planning.
Even talking to other DMs just to check, does this sound okay? Am I stupid? Or is this going to be terrible or great? Like, it's either or.
The starts.
And
nice.
So just for preparing for the first few episodes for this campaign, I'm spending probably at least 2 or 3 working weeks.
Damn, bro.
Just thinking, writing, planning.
But you do enjoy it.
I love it. And that's why I'm doing it.
That's one of my favorite parts about being a GM is actually I do a little bit of photoshopping and stuff like that, and I draw a little bit. And one of the most fun couple of hours I had was starting to draw a city map for D&D. And I need to find it again because my plan for it was a huge, gigantic map for just one city. It wouldn't be like country-sized, but it would be like New York or London or something like properly big-sized. And I planned how it was going to work and the intermixing of like the different districts. And I put a lot of work into it, and I enjoyed every second. Because essentially, when you're doing that, you're kind of more or less writing a book, but it's, instead of an entire book, it's a chapter. Just one chapter. And then you're finished. You don't have the pressure of finishing the entire book. Even for Sindre's campaign, that's essentially a finished book as far as D&D games go. But he can build on that with more if he wants to.
I've been building my world now for 4 years, actively, by playing and by making.
Do you want to hear a fun fact that neither of you would expect at all? Might actually surprise you a lot.
Okay.
Earlier when I said that I don't necessarily like playing D&D, but I could like to be a DM. We talked about that earlier, just like loosely, like, it could be cool to be a DM and stuff. I actually got inspired from that and started making my own world and started writing a D&D story. And but I didn't get far before I quit, but I started, and I actually wrote half an A4 page with the story, and I started making pictures and building the map and Google. Probably used like total of like 6 or 7, 8 hours actually creating a world.
The hours spin away fast.
Yeah.
But would you expect that from me that I actually started doing that?
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. No one else. Okay.
He knows you better. He's your brother.
Sure,
I'm
sure.
not.
You are related to me and Jan, even though you don't follow us exactly.
Sure.
You have the genes for it.
I have the DM genes.
Yeah, the DM genes.
Indeed.
I love it.
But hype about the new season, though.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I've been writing, so it's very fun having players that are engaged and writing their own backstories, because I get several messages a week just asking, how does this work? How does this work? And I'm like, I don't actually know, but I don't say that to them. I answer them with a full like paragraph or two of
Yeah.
how it is, what it is. Because even though I haven't thought about it, I haven't written it down yet, at that point, I decide this is the way it is. And then I write it out to them. And after having written them a message about it, I sit down with my computer, open World Anvil, which is the tool I'm using to build out my world and make a wiki page. A lot of the information I've written will actually be available to the public to read. It's already available, like the maps and a lot of the peculiars about different things are available now.
The stuff that you made for first season.
Yeah,
of,
it's the same world.
Paradise. Yeah, but my point is, you're not going to release campaign notes for the new season.
No.
That's
I'm
my
not
point.
releasing campaign notes for anything. I'm releasing the world building part.
Okay.
So the map, the cities, information about the races, because we're not playing in a Forgotten Realms world. We're playing in my world, which means sort of like...
Your rules apply,
Yeah.
not Forgotten Realms.
And when one of the players asked, how does Aasimars, the race, work in your world?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, how do they work? And then I read up on what they usually are. And then,
If I remember correctly, Aasimars are essentially half or quarter breeds of celestial beings.
so generally, they're not half or a quarter or anything. They are
Descended. Yeah, but it's, in my mind, it's somewhat closely related
Yeah.
to a celestial being.
Yeah.
So it's not like, because you can be a sorcerer and have like the celestial background, I believe. But that's something removed from Aasimar in my mind.
Yeah.
You have to be more closely related to celestials in some way.
So what I did, so in Forgotten Realms, it's mostly humans who have, in their relatively close descendancy, been mixed with humans.
What? You've mixed humans with humans? Say it
With
again.
Celestials, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Celestials and humans. But in my world, elves are the sort of biggest race, and humans didn't exist in this world like a few thousand years before the campaign started. So it just makes sense that elves would be sort of the dominant race in Aasimars. Which also means that Aasimars, instead of having a little bit extended human lifespan, because they had like 130 years or so.
130 or
lifespan.
150 or something like that.
Yeah, and in my world they have 950 or so.
Yeah, because you extend the elven lifespan.
Yeah, and in my world they're not directly descendants. No new Aasimars or no new sort of like mixing between elves and celestials have happened for maybe 2,000 years.
Okay.
But it's a dormant gene in elves
Yeah.
that sometimes activate. And Aasimars are also looked down upon. Everyone dislikes Aasimars because they are related to the old gods. They're related to gods that have fallen out of favor.
I see.
So they're from a heresy. They're not in the accepted religion.
The Horus heresy.
I know what that is.
Yeah.
So all of this is something that I came up with when they asked the question, can I be an Aasimar? And I'm like, they don't really fit into my world. Let's make them fit into my world. And that also makes my world very different, which for me makes it more fun, because when they ask a question, I can always say, what you read is wrong. This is how it is. And that makes it sort of like they can't, from before, just read up on Forgotten Realms and say, I know how this works. I know how this monster works.
I actually have done the same thing with in 5e. I've played two modules, Curse of Strahd and Storm of King's Thunder. We haven't finished any of them because we can't get a proper schedule made.
Oh, yeah.
But in each of them, I said, don't read the book. You might read it. If you do, it's not going to be the same, probably. I'm going to change some things. Because if you have people that have played it before, they will very probably ruin part of the experience for everyone else. Because they know what's going to happen. I was like, I know what's going to happen. I know where we need to go. You can extrapolate from the gamers to Darkness Rising, actually, because you have the players played it before. So it's like, we need to go to the mountains. And like, your character doesn't know that. As the GM, it's very annoying to have someone know what's going to happen beforehand.
let's just see if I understand this correctly. Is D&D that open that you can go in and change the races,
Yes.
like the playable races?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Even if you're playing a module like you
Mm.
talked about, you can change everything if you want to. You have to talk to your players about it
Yes.
because you have to agree that it's not going to be a vanilla Forgotten Realms setting.
Just take it like this. Is it? Can you do it as basic as humans? Their normal height is 60 centimeters.
Yeah,
and that's
Yes.
how
if you
humans
want
are.
to.
Mm.
Okay,
You
damn,
can.
that's pretty cool.
You can change absolutely everything, not only D&D, but every role-playing game ever to fit what you want it to be. For example, you could have the human race is comprised of only people that are 5 centimeters tall. The entire species of humans are 5 centimeters tall.
Huh.
And to their perspective, every other race is giants.
Yeah.
Even dwarves or halflings, they are titanic compared to them.
That could be a cool world, like
Yeah.
just playing in a world filled with giants.
And that's one of the joys of role-playing, because you can quite literally make whatever you desire. Literally. It's like, if you have an idea, you can very probably play it. There are very, very few things that you can't play. There is more a question of, should you play it?
So
It's like, do you want to play a realistic game where your characters or player characters are devils torturing people in hell? Probably not. Not a good idea. That's, if you like that, go ahead. We don't need to know about that. But it's more a question of, should you do it rather than can you? Because you can. There are other role-playing games that are even more open-ended than D&D.
and also in D&D, it doesn't have to be sort of Middle Ages Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to set your setting to a future setting, you can set it to even further back, more primitive. You can have guns if you want to. I would advise you to only have like the simplest of guns because it breaks the combat, but you can if you want to.
If you want to play more modernized gun type role playing, I would advise going for a different system.
Yeah.
Probably Cyberpunk or GURPS, which is very modular, generic role playing game, I believe it is. Yeah. No, role playing system. And you can, for example, do the Star Wars system, which is its own system. I think it's D6 based.
Yeah.
And you have the Warhammer system, which is also D6 based. No, it's a D10. I don't remember. It's
I
been
would
too long.
imagine Warhammer is D6 just
Yeah.
because of the prevalence the D6 has.
Yeah,
in Warhammer.
true.
But,
But I have played a couple of different ones.
Yeah.
So.
the thing with D&D is that when you read the DM's handbook, it will say in the book that this is just a guide, which also goes for the entire story and the entire setting. And D&D isn't a setting, it's a set of rules. So there isn't sort of like a set rule for what everything is. There's a set rule for how to play it, which you can also change if you want to. So everything is customizable and nothing is sort of set in stone.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not sort of clear up front with your players, is often a bit of a problem. Because if you think something is one way and then you don't talk about it, that can become very confusing later on.
But then again, that as the GM, it's kind of your prerogative to do what makes sense to you, because you are God. You are God in this system, essentially. So if there's something that doesn't fit the GM's perspective of something, they have the right as such to change it. Not everything. So it's like thaumaturgy is a spell, and most caster classes can take it at first level. If the GM changes what that spell does completely without checking first with the players and balancing it to some degree, you will get up with you will end up with conflict either with the players or the rest of the system. So it's a balancing act to change things, but story things you can change freely. And as long as the players are okay with it, you can change mostly everything, almost.
Yeah. And so stuff like that I would make sure to change also before it starts being used. Because if the players are sort of using Fireball for sort of 7 sessions in a row, and then suddenly you say, oh yeah, the Fireball's always been like this large and blue. And then it's like, that just ruins everything for the last 7 sessions, because everyone has imagined the Fireball to be fire-colored.
Obviously.
And this big, so it's just like, don't change stuff unnecessarily late into the game.
I had an issue with this actually during one game. I was playing Warhammer Rogue Trader, which is a lower powered Warhammer role-playing game. Or lower, slightly lower. It's 40k, but it's lower powered. So I was playing an unsanctioned Psyker, which makes the balancing act of not getting dragged away by the Imperium to be killed for the glory of the Emperor was very difficult. But there was one basic ability which was essentially you create an illusion where you are standing in the same position you are, and then you make yourself invisible. And then you can move. And I think it was I think we had 5 sessions, and during the last I think it was the 3rd one and the 5th one, he nerfed that ability twice. Once during one session and once during another session. So he made it weaker. I think first he made it so it had a cooldown, because it didn't have a cooldown. So I could just use it every turn, and it was very, 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 very powerful. I'm not going to deny that. And it's like, it has a cooldown of 1 turn. And it's like, I can live with that. That's fine. And then he also made it so that if anyone or anything was psychically capable in any way almost, it didn't work. So it was like, okay, so now I can't fight demons. I can't fight psychic creatures at all, almost. I was transformed from a wizard that kind of, parentheses, teleported around the battlefield by being invisible to I hit things in a magical way. Which was very like debilitating in the way that I built the character. And so that I would call a poor DM choice.
Yeah, if you're going to do stuff like that, you should really be upfront about it.
Yeah.
Like, sure, do it after one use, maybe if you see that it's
too powerful. Yeah.
Too powerful, but don't do stuff like that after it's been in use for a long time. Then you need to find another solution for it.
Yeah.
Upgrade something else, balance it out, or sort of like just leave it be, deal with it later, never, like in your next campaign, take it away. I think you should never nerf a player mid-game, because for you, your build will probably be centered a little bit around this. The fact that it works this way, that's why I'm taking this stat or this item or stuff like that. And that will sort of like, if you've done this and then this is nerfed, I'm like, okay, this is what my character was.
Like as an example, if you play a rogue that's able to hide extremely well, so every combat you go, I hide, I sneak behind them and punch them or stab them, whatever. And then the GM goes, you're only half stealth. You're now half as powerful as you were. As an example. Or you can only hide every other round. Like it's essentially what happened to me. So like you can hide and stab someone, and then you can't hide on your next turn. It's like, what? No. Why?
And given a power like that, you would probably take a feat that would say that if you get an attack in from this, then you get double damage. And it's like, if it doesn't nerf the fact that you can't hide anymore, it's like, okay, I spent my last level upgrading this ability.
It's no longer useful.
Yeah. And you don't want your players going back to change stuff in their character later. So, yeah, make sure to never edit stuff later.
Isn't the answer to that to just make the monsters harder?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, yes and no, because if you have one, this is a common GM problem, which is if you have one character that's really powerful, if you buff the monsters, someone's gonna die. It's not gonna be that powerful player.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bad.
So that also depends on how you buff the monster and how you deal with the
Oh,
situation.
yeah.
Sort of like if the big problem is the total damage output of the party, buffing the monster with a little bit more health.
Yeah.
If
It's an easy
the
solution.
problem is sort of like this one player is always hitting, doesn't really matter that much.
No.
So it's just a matter of what's the problem? What's the actual problem with their buff? Are they doing too much damage? Okay, let's just give the monster a little bit more HP to compensate for the extra damage that one player is dealing. But if the player is like, he never goes down, he never takes any damage, just not deal with it, I think. You can't really fix a player with that can just take too much damage.
Yeah.
Focus on having them run around trying to save their friends or something like that.
Yeah.
But
For example, if you have a barbarian or fighter that can tank everything, it's like, okay, the monster attacks the wizard. And it's like, oh no!
True. But since you guys have talked so much about DMing and how you guys DM, for me, say I wanted to start with DMing, how do I go forward? Like, what do I need? How do I start a campaign? What do I do?
first, you'll have to find players, people who are willing to play with you. That's the easiest task in the world.
No.
It is.
No.
Just go to Facebook, look up Dungeons and Dragons Norway or wherever you live, and say that you want to DM. People will jump on you instantly.
Yes and no, because you can finding people that have a consistent time schedule that allows for playing role-playing games consistently every week or other week or third week is difficult because stuff changes.
Yeah, but it doesn't really need a consistent group for his first session. I would say that it doesn't.
Oh, very first session?
Yeah.
No.
I'd say it doesn't hurt that the group might just disappear after because you've gotten the experience.
For me, I would probably advise what setting do you like? So for you, it would probably be Warhammer 40k, I think. Or Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Doesn't matter. Choose the system you probably think you will be comfortable with. So check with some D&D players what they recommend. I think a good starting system is D&D. It's a very D&D 5e is a very easy system to learn. And after that, it's a question of reading the rules a little bit, learning them a little bit, just a little bit, not much, and finding some players, playing a session, and figuring out the game during playing.
Yeah.
Because you can make a very loose, like, oh, we're going to have a battle session so we can all learn to do things in the game. Or we can have a social setting and learn how things work. The easiest in D&D is probably a combat session.
Yeah. I think there are always very many different ways to go about this. It all depends on your sort of community, the community around you.
Yes.
So the best way to learn is to be a player for quite a few sessions first.
Yeah.
I didn't have that luxury myself. I had to read up on the rules, force people to play with me, and learn by trying.
You're going to play me with me.
But sort of, say you live around this area, for example. You could get into our Facebook group for Begynner Rollespill. And sort of groups like that, like us, we do DM sessions where we teach people to be a DM.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And because of the fact that we do have quite a bit of a community with people who want to play, I know quite a lot of people who would love a DM to play with. Then sort of you do the course, you get set up with a group of players, and then you can play. And having sort of the game store setting is always very sort of like helpful for people who want to play because it has a sort of alluring effect, a way to get people consistently in the door. Because everyone who comes to a game store to play D&D, they're dedicated. They want to play.
Yeah.
So that's what we've seen. What we've seen here with most of our groups is that they come back every week. as long as you have the DM.
Yes, but you do kind of have to have the
Yeah.
DM or GM.
So that's what I'm saying. Sort of like becoming a DM. It's easy. You just pick up a book, pick up players, and start playing.
So basically, you're saying locate your nearest local game store, go in, buy a DM handbook, and then ask the people behind the counter, find me players.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of.
That would actually work, but sort of like the way I feel most of the people I knew before getting into sort of the game store scene had friends. They just had the same interest and said, "We want to try playing D&D," and then fight over who gets to be forced to be the DM.
Mm.
Because I rarely meet people who want to be the DM going into it.
Well.
And so it's usually sort of like a group of 4 or 5 friends wanting to try D&D and then finding a way to do it.
I will say that being the GM is exceptionally less relaxing than being the player. It depends on what kind of player you are, obviously. You have people like Benjamin who gets stressed out. So,
yeah. And then watching a lot of YouTube always helps.
Well, yes.
That's a tool I didn't have at my disposal.
Neither did I.
When I started.
Neither did I.
Not that old. Like YouTube was not thing.
YouTube was around, but you didn't have DMs talking about how to be a DM on YouTube.
We are both old enough to have experienced YouTube not existing.
And YouTube being just a simpler place.
Yes.
Not a place where you find everything like it is today.
Okay.
YouTube, we experienced YouTube not being the video Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So
what I did when I started, I picked up a DM's guidebook from a local game store. I read it from cover to cover, found people. I think that was the first time I wrote it on Facebook that I wanted to play D&D and asked who wants to join.
I remember you actually asked me too as well at the time.
When were you? How old were you when this happened?
I wasn't very old.
I think I was. You probably was 16 or something. Because I think I was 15, 14.
14, between 14 and 16, I think, the first time.
I think my first session was around the same time, but I don't remember. Well, to be fair, I didn't have Facebook until I was like 19.
Yeah.
So.
And I DM'd for one brother, not this one.
The other one.
And I DM'd for a cousin. And a couple of friends.
Cousin?
Yeah, Lassanda.
Was he in it?
I think so.
Huh.
I can't remember if he joined or just said that he wanted to. But I found the Facebook post when I cleaned up in my Facebook. And I was like, really? Did I ask on Facebook if someone wanted to join to play D&D? That's interesting.
Very interesting.
I wouldn't do that today. Not like publicly on my wall.
No.
But yeah.
To be fair, I would never post anything like that on Facebook. The Fandomaticon we went to, I was like, I don't want to post it to my page.
Yeah.
Because I'm very like, I don't post shit on my page at all.
I've gone way above that. No shame anymore. I plug and post everything now.
Yeah, I don't still.
But sort of like getting into it today is just super simple, especially after the pandemic. Because so many people started playing online.
Yes.
And I know that if you want to play now, you can just post on Reddit, you can post on the D&D Facebook group. And I believe there are a few online services where you can just say that register as DM and you will get players assigned.
Yes.
Oh, I would never do that.
No, me neither.
Well, actually, I might.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy and don't want to leave my apartment.
Yeah, but you get a random group of persons.
So?
You never know who you get.
But that's the same as online gaming. And you've been doing a lot of online gaming.
Yeah.
Like playing Smite.
True.
It's basically the same
It's
thing.
essentially
especially
the same
as a player.
True.
Not true.
But
it's
I
true.
feel like you have to work together with both your DM and your group to have a good game.
Same.
Yeah.
You do that in Smite.
In Smite, I can just carry my plebs.
Big words.
Easy.
Yeah, I have never done it myself. I know Philip in our group does that all the time. He plays with a group online.
But does he play with a random pickup group or actually friends?
They are friends now,
they started out.
But they are from all around the world. I know he met some of them in real life.
Yeah, but did he meet them with the start of that DN group, or did he meet them before that DN
No,
group?
No.
It's a random group of players.
Oh.
Or it was.
And he's
random.
just become
and they've
friends with
just
them.
and they just kept playing.
To be
That's
fair,
cool.
this is a common occurrence actually, because in World of Warcraft you have guilds that literally is like, I should meet you when I'm in Germany or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I've actually met one of my clanmates from Smite that I played semi-professional Smite with in England. So I know it's a standard thing with games. I just didn't see it in D&D.
Yeah.
Mm.
But the online scene for D&D is sort of like the same thing as standard online gaming at this point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's due to the pandemic, I believe, most of it, or a
Mostly.
lot of it.
Before the pandemic, D&D was not an online game. It was a
started to become.
Yeah, but not to the extent it has become now, because the pandemic kind of forced the development. Like wars forced the development of medicine, weapons, and science. No, but really, the pandemic forced
know.
online stuff.
I love the comparison, and I love that you made D&D and medicine equal in a way.
It's important for my mental health. Shut up.
Yes, it is.
Is it decent?
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
Yeah, well, it was just pretty funny.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so if you specifically were going to start a DMing group, I would advise you to just talk to me.
Okay.
Okay.
If a random person listening wants to do the same thing as he does, still ask me.
Yeah.
But just check with your local communities.
If you know someone who GMs, just ask them.
Yeah.
And if you don't know anyone who GMs, ask your local game store, if you have one. And if you don't have the access to that, go on the internet. Go on YouTube, Reddit, Facebook groups, Discord groups. You can find everything online.
And if you are currently a D&D player,
Mm-hmm.
ask your DM at the end of your current campaign if they want a break.
Mm.
Because I know a lot of DMs don't really want to be DMs, but they have to be. And so if you are a player in a group with a DM that might want to not play, ask them. They would love you.
It's a condition called forever GM.
Yeah.
And many people suffer from it.
I do, but I
You
wouldn't
enjoy
say
it.
I suffer.
Yeah, you enjoy it.
I do enjoy it.
Didn't you try to go away from DMing and actually playing, and just found out that I want to DM instead?
No, not really. I've never tried to go away from being a DM. I've tried to play.
Okay.
Because I have wanted to play. I still want to try playing again. But I always want to be... I want to main as a GM.
Main as GM. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Taking the gaming analogy
Analogies.
further.
Yeah.
I actually talked about this with a colleague of mine when it came to watching people play games on Twitch.
Huh?
That he found this so weird. Why do people want to see other people play a game? And I'm like, dude, you watch football every day almost. It's the same thing, just different medium.
Literally.
Or same medium, different audience.
Yeah.
That's the thing that goes again and again. It's a generation gap.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, and like there's a lot of forms of entertainment. Twitch watching people play games is entertainment. Easy as that, and you just watch it.
But he didn't, it took him 10 minutes of me just telling him that it's the same thing before he admitted that, okay, maybe you're right.
He's probably
Yeah.
one of the guys who watch chess.
Maybe, yeah.
Probably.
Sitting there, you can just say, sitting there for an hour, staring at two guys, sitting quietly in their chairs, not doing anything for an hour.
Well, they're
How-
doing something.
Thinking.
Mostly in their head.
Yes.
They're thinking. Yeah, what I'm saying is it can take 1 hour to do one move. So just sitting there thinking, and this guy is just watching it. I watch that. I love it. But if you do that and you cannot understand why people watch Twitch, that's pretty darn crazy.
I agree with that.
Especially because Twitch is so sort of high-paced, high-powered mostly. There are slow Twitch channels as well. But the most popular Twitch gamers, they are fast. Everything's happening all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It never slows down.
Yeah, but that's because humans in general want instant gratification. So things have to happen quickly, mostly, because It's doing the same thing that he's been doing for half an hour. I don't want to watch anymore. And they turn it off. Not everyone is like that, but it's quite common, which is why, as you said, Twitch streamers like, I'm going to... Stuff happens a lot.
Talking about Twitch streamers.
Yes.
We're Twitch streamers.
We are.
All of us. And I'm very much looking forward to this weekend, especially Sunday.
Yeah.
Because
Upgrading.
we are upgrading this room.
Well, modifying the room.
Upgrading. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade.
It's dependent on your definition of upgrade.
If it becomes better,
Improving something.
If it becomes better, then it's an upgrade. We are
gonna
not certain it's going to be an upgrade.
It will be better.
well,
no matter what.
we're doing this with an intent of it becoming better.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to upgrade. Is that better?
There's a reason why people say I'm a pessimist.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I don't agree with them, but that's fine.
So we are going to isolate the room more,
Mm-hmm.
make less sound leak
Echoey
through the
sounds.
doors.
Less reverberation.
So
Because what people who comes into our Twitch chat doesn't necessarily understand right away is, and why should they understand it, is that we are actually streaming inside a
Game
open
store.
game store.
Mm.
So on some days there can be like 10, 15, 20 people outside, right outside a room, going at it, playing
Mm.
Warhammer or playing board games or
D&D.
being hype.
Being excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like D&D too, like someone rolls a critical or something, they can be shouting and
Yeah.
whatever. So we have had some problems with noise getting in.
Mm.
Yeah,
Good
we
ways.
have some cheap, very poorly constructed glass doors in the entrance.
Well, they're not poorly constructed. They're not made for this use. So,
Well, they are actually poorly constructed because when we opened there, we had to have a construction worker coming in and doing work with the doors just to be able to use them properly.
oh.
So we are going to shut them down, and that's going to be good.
Yes.
I've been wanting to do this for a long time because I want to be able to use the space better.
Yeah. The only big issue with this room really is the noise pollution from outside.
Yeah.
It's
Everything else
the
is
biggest, yeah.
mostly fine.
And I also want to remove a lot of the excess things that we have in this room because initially you could maybe see it a little bit on the D&D stream sometimes. We used to have wall hangings. We still do in the wall, or roof hangings, I mean.
Oh,
for the
roof hangings,
microphones. And they're still there, but we are not using them.
Mm.
So that's going to go away.
That's going to go, and a couple of things around the room have to be organized a little bit better and removed, some of them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because the thing
That'd
is,
be nice.
we started out with no knowledge.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we just bought what we thought would work,
Mm.
and we put that in. And
And
then we figure out that this doesn't work, so we bought new stuff and put that in.
mm.
And then something else didn't work, so we just bought new stuff and didn't put it in. Then put it in.
Yeah.
The common thing here is that we never took anything out.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's just more and more stuff in.
But for anyone listening, actually, after this upcoming Sunday, which I believe is the 1st of
May, yeah.
you might find on Finn some audio equipment going on
Indeed.
sale, possibly.
Yep.
And
You
that
should
will-
check it out or tell your friends if they need it.
And that audio equipment will be from your favorite Twitch channel,
Yes.
Nords and Nerds.
Nords, nerds.
No, so yeah, we're going to get an upgrade, and that's also going to allow us to add more angles to all our streams if we want to,
Yes.
because it's going to remove all but one wall from this room being able to actually use. Could potentially. We'll see what we do.
Yeah.
Sure. It's going to be nice.
So, Kenneth,
Yeah.
do you have a quiz prepared for us?
Yeah, but first I think we need a couple of words about that.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I'm
our
about to say.
new quizmaster.
Yeah, so we've decided to make a little bit of a change on the quiz stuff, as Kenneth is not really an expert in the things that we talk about, and I would love to try my best answering the questions he writes instead,
I
because
think you're going to beat me a lot at this because I forget names of things.
so do I. You don't know me in quiz settings yet.
Mhm.
I've always been the one who knows everything because I have the answers in front of me.
Mm.
But thank you for being nice with the way you put it. But you can just be frank. I'm too stupid to be
No.
the player on the quiz. I need to be behind the questions.
According to your own words, and when we started this podcast, Talk About Nerds, you said that I'm gonna have an uphill battle with this quiz because I'm the one who doesn't have the prior knowledge of nerdy things.
True.
He also said that he's a bigger nerd than me.
Yes, which we both knew was a lie. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bigger sports nerd.
True.
But you don't mean
Yeah.
You said that.
common phrase nerd.
All right. Okay. We got a quiz, and we got a quiz that's tailored to what we have been talking about today. So it's going to be about D&D.
Ooh.
And D&D alone. Let's Åvar, buzzer.
I was gonna say that my buzzer will be.
Okay, Sindre, buzzer.
Ah!
Okay, and that is nice. Let's just jump right in with question 1, and it goes: in most editions of D&D, the barbarian class has a unique ability that lets them inflict extra damage.
Rage.
Indeed.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, starting off easy.
I was thinking rage, but it was so poorly written. Like,
But that is the common across all of the editions.
yeah.
That's the common thread.
But rage isn't really designed to inflict more damage.
It is because you gain strength.
Depends.
It is.
It depends.
It
yeah.
is.
It depends.
No, it is.
It is 2 against 1. It's at least what the internet said to me.
Yeah.
Okay, question 2. It might be really, really easy as well, so be ready on your buzzers. There are 2 main types of dragons: metallic and
Aruga.
well,
Chromatic.
indeed.
What the hell is going on, Sindre?
A resident DM is slow on the buzzer.
Yes.
I'm very slow on my buzzer. today.
You're a more prolific DM than
Yeah.
I am. What the hell?
Okay, let's go on with question 3. What classic D&D monster terrified players not because it might kill their characters, but because it would destroy their equipment?
Ogre.
Åvar.
The rust monster.
Indeed.
What the hell is going on,
That makes
Sindre?
sense.
This is not like you.
Okay, I'm gonna do the 5th question before the 4th actually, because I don't know, but I believe the 4th one is harder than the 5th one.
Okay.
And the 5th one is pretty easy, I would guess. Question 4. What is the strongest type of giant?
That's
What?
not my buzzer. What was my buzzer?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Is it the frost giant?
Incorrect.
Aruga.
Åvar.
It's the storm giant.
It is indeed.
I believe it's hill giant, stone giant, fire giant, frost giant, and storm giant. I think that's the list. Yeah, the list is displayed in Storm King's Thunder. Though it's quite some time since I read it.
The thing is, I always customize and make my own monsters.
Yeah. I'm more versed in the classic or standardized D&D monsters.
On the last question,
Mhm.
there is 6 possible answers. I will need 4 of them.
Okay.
Question 5. Which races in the monster manual have their own unique languages not mentioned in the player's handbook? It's out.
Language is not mentioned in the player's handbook.
They have their own unique languages and they're not mentioned in the player's handbook. It's a pretty hard question.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And there is a total of 6. And we can go down to needing 3 of them.
Ogre.
Or what?
I believe all the elemental ones, which is... Oh, I don't remember what they're called anymore. That's the problem. Because in 3.5, you had one language for the element of earth, or the plane of earth, the plane of air, the plane of fire, and the plane of water. They each had a language. but I don't remember what they're called anymore. That's the problem. And I believe the Gith have their own language.
It says nothing about Git. And the elemental things, they probably have a name. And
Yeah, problem is I don't remember what they are.
So we have one of what, 6?
No, it does not say the
Okay, it
Gith,
doesn't say
it does
anything.
not say the Gith. Or Gith
in my
Or elemental.
Gith or Githyanki.
or elemental.
I was thinking stuff like no, because I know the players can choose these languages.
Yeah. Problem is I remember like the uncommon languages as well, but the exotic ones are quite difficult to remember because they have very special names.
Yeah, and I rarely use them because I don't care about the languages the players definitely can't know. I rarely do.
No, but it is which races in the monster manual have their own unique languages not mentioned in the player's handbook.
Yeah.
Which races? Oh, wait.
Which race?
So you're thinking about the question is about race,
yeah,
not the
right,
language name.
That are not mentioned in the player's handbook.
And if anyone listening actually knows this, put it in. So yeah, send it in to us so you can say that better. Yeah, over.
If I'm not mistaken, Infernal is not mentioned.
It is.
In player's handbook?
It is.
It is? Damn. Then I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know.
Giants is...
No. Yeah, it's in the player's handbook, yes.
Yep.
Giant, orc, elven, dwarven, orcish, giant.
Are the names very weird, or do you know what the names are yourself?
Do you understand what they are?
I know 2 of them.
Okay.
Okay, so very, very...
The thing is with the monster manual is that there are maybe a few hundred monsters in the monster manual.
Yes.
Which are all... A lot of them are different races.
Do you know which edition are they from, these languages? Because if they're from 5e, then I won't know them.
I'm pretty sure it's 3.5.
3.5?
Or 2. No, 2. Just 2. Or 3.5. Or something like that. I don't know.
Second edition, I don't know anything about. 3.5, I haven't played since.
You have like 8 or 9 different monster manuals, so it's like almost impossible for me to know that.
I'm guessing it's just the standard monster manual. But I think we're not going to get it.
Yeah, let's just go.
Yeah, let's go for
Go through
them.
them.
You have the Treant.
Treant, yeah.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
The Umber Hulk.
Yeah.
They don't...
Do they have their own language?
I didn't think so.
They have their own unique language.
Really? Oh.
At least that's what Google told me.
Okay, fair enough.
And you have the Drow.
No, they speak Underdark.
That might be. We'll fact check that later. You have the Yuan-Ti.
Yuan-Ti.
Yeah.
Yuan-Ti.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
one,
yeah,
that's
they
the
do. Yeah,
single
yeah,
one I
that's
was
fair.
thinking
That's
about.
fair.
And then you have the Sphinx.
Really? I didn't know that.
And the Slad.
Yeah, the Slad is... Well, I thought they spoke Infernal or Abyssal.
I've used 2 of these monsters, and I gave them standard languages because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I generally don't check the language of a monster.
I know all the monster you mentioned, but I didn't realize they had unique languages, and I'm not agreeing with the Drow. Speak. What is the language called?
I'm not arguing with you on that.
What is their language? Does it say there?
And at least for 5e, Drow is a playable race.
They speak Underdark. Or I think their language is called Underspeak or something like that. I don't remember. It's the common language for everything that's underground. It's like common for the underground.
Yeah, it just says Elvish and Undercommon in 5th edition.
Yeah, Undercommon.
Okay, so maybe that one is wrong.
It could be right for 2nd edition or
It
something.
is possible, by all means.
And Undercommon might not be mentioned in the player's handbook races in...
Not in the player's handbook for 3.5 at least.
Yeah. So... But a lot of monsters speak Undercommon.
Yeah, it's
and
like
Elvish.
I think one of the common languages for the Illithid is actually Underdark because they live in the Underdark.
Yeah.
But could it be like they have their own version of Elvish? That's a unique language.
Like lore-wise, it might be,
yeah.
That might be the basis for Undercommon.
Yeah,
sure.
But they are not the only ones that speak it.
Sure.
You also have the Duergar, they speak Undercommon, and I think the Illithids, they speak Undercommon, and Driders, they speak Undercommon. So it's more like the common for the underground.
But that, as I said, that was a bit harder question compared to the others.
Very hard.
But that was a 4-0 or was it 4-1?
I think it was 4-0 because you
4-0,
didn't get it and I didn't get it.
No.
I'm
I was
severely disappointed in you.
I was way too slow today.
Yes.
Way
But it
too
was
slow.
better competition though, because if you didn't go that fast, he would have gotten them.
Yeah.
Yes.
When me and you had our Cinderella quiz, it was like you held your buzzer just waiting for me, and I still didn't get it, and then you could go in.
But the two dragon main species, metallic and because two main dragon species, Uruga, it's metallic and chromatic, and it's like a little bit too quick there.
Yeah.
I also very well know about this.
Yeah.
Very excited.
You probably knew every.
Yeah, I knew every answer. I'm just tired and slow.
Well, you did have a weird expression with the rust monster. It was kind of like, what?
Yeah, realization.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I hadn't arrived at the conclusion yet.
But that's a good start to the quiz, though.
And I did think the first question was worded weird because I don't agree with the wording of it.
That sounds like a you problem.
But I would have said the same answer.
Yeah.
Åvar. Do you have a movie review for me?
I do. Well, you two.
Ooh.
Do you think we're going to get this one?
Probably not. Well, it's not that uncommon of a movie, but the description is somewhat obscure. So I will add stuff if you ask me to add stuff.
I feel like we have a better chance now, though, because on every other one, he said we should get this one. It's easy. And we have.
To be fair, the
no
old
chance.
Pink Panther you should have known.
No.
Yes.
No. I after when you talked about it for a while, I still thought we were talking about the new Pink
one.
Panther.
So, I have a bad review for a movie. The title is Oh, why the CG actors? Exclamation mark, question mark. I love the comics, although I do have a I love the comics, although I do have problems fully understanding the stories. The visual style is unique with all its dirt, dust and decay. So I thought I knew what I was up for. Surprisingly, I understood the main plot, but some extremely poorly decisions were... What? Sorry, that sentence was very strangely constructed.
Yeah.
I understood the main plot, but some extremely poorly decisions were made for its visual style. I mean, really bad-looking CG human actors in close-ups. Why? It did not work at all. Horus and the other Egyptian gods was successfully made in CG and very close to the comic version. I think with real actors, this movie could have been a cult movie. What a shame.
Okay, there's a comic, Egyptian gods, Horus.
Not the Horus heresy?
No, I know.
I have no idea.
Comic with Egyptian gods.
So I can reveal a little bit
Go ahead.
about the story. It's a movie set in essentially the future, couple of 100 years after now, more or less. A floating pyramid appears in the middle of a city with no explanation. On the inside of the pyramid, you see CG representations of the Egyptian gods, the big ones. So Anubis, Horus, and Bastet, I believe, the cat god. They have judged Horus for some reason I don't remember anymore to be executed. He is given time on Earth to propagate.
It definitely rings a bell. Definitely rings a bell. Both with the pyramids and Horus back on Earth, right?
And this is fully animated?
No.
No.
It's real life with CG. And it's not the best CG.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you have, for example, you have humans that have been cybernetically or biologically modified. So if you have a bad kidney, you can replace it like you do now, but it's been replaced with an artificial one. And the operation to do that is very apparent, which is mostly CG.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you have a bad eye, that part of the face has probably been CG'd away.
I don't think I've seen this.
I can say that the main character, I would say, which is a female actress, is portrayed as blue, literally blue.
Completely blue.
Differing shades of blue, but mostly her skin is blue, her hair is blue. She's blue, dabba-dee-dabba-da.
Do you know who the actor is? Actress.
Give me half a moment.
Now I fell apart with the blue thing. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar to me at all, either.
It's a somewhat difficult movie.
You're just giving us movies we've never seen. Why don't we see more movies, Kenneth?
Kenneth doesn't watch movies.
I do.
So the main actress is called Linda Hardy. And the supporting main actor, which is a man, is Thomas Kretschmann.
Never heard of any of those.
I think I've heard of Linda Hardy. But no, nothing in this.
You've
movie is
very,
any-
very, very probably watched Thomas Kretschmann.
Yeah, probably.
It's the man on the right. He was, amongst others,
Yeah, I've seen
in
him.
the one of the Avengers movies.
I've seen him.
No, I'm completely
I
back.
think we're gonna have to raise the flag
need
again.
to-
The white flag.
I need to choose easier movies.
Yeah, I think
So-
so.
The movie is called Immortal. Egyptian gods appear in the sky in a pyramid floating above the city. Horus is judged for some crime which I don't remember what is. Oh, here's the description. In the distant future, Earth is occupied by ancient gods and genetically altered humans. When a god is sentenced to death, he seeks a new human host and a woman to bear his child. So essentially, Horus the god goes and possesses the actor Thomas Kretschmann, which is a political activist that has been imprisoned. He gets freed. He gets possessed by the god Horus, and the first time, I would say, not completely consensually tries to make a baby with this main actress.
Huh.
That part's quite bad, I would say. But yeah, so the main actress looks like this in the movie. She's quite blue.
Interesting. Yeah. No. We've,
Yeah, no, I've
we've
never seen
not
it.
seen it.
Damn it! I watched two like unknown movies. I'm a movie hipster. Damn it!
I feel like that movie. That's a movie I could have seen. I've seen a lot of like movies that
The CGI is very distinctive.
I've seen a lot of movies that people haven't seen. Just not the same movies you've seen that no one's seen.
Apparently, because the movie is from 2004.
Yeah.
So it's not that old,
No.
actually.
You're just too cultured for us.
No, I watch shit movies, and it's just coincidentally not the same ones that Sindre watches.
Yeah.
So here you have an image of Horus.
Yeah.
The
All right.
CGI is not fantastic, but it's very stylized, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of Fifth Element, because you have flying cars
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Good fun.
It's cool.
I've only chosen movies you haven't gotten.
Yeah.
God
Yep.
damn it.
And this movie is
I
also going
did
on
get
through.
one movie, and that's why you're doing it so difficult, because I got it very easily.
No, but I told you a lot of, if you've watched the movie, you probably would have gotten it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll choose an easier one for next time.
last week we played a game,
Yes.
a board game, a physical board game,
A fun game.
Yeah.
and we recorded it. What game did we play again?
We played Wingspan.
Wingspan. Okay.
Wingspan.
Åvar, this was your first time playing this game.
Well, yes, technically, but we did have the glitch.
Yeah, we had a
But
trial run.
it was essentially the first time, yes. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. It's it's a deck building / board building, resource management. It's a mashup of a lot of different things, and the mechanics are, I would say, very balanced for what it represents. It represents different birds from all across the world. So you have like sparrow and hawks and stuff like that. And you have mechanics that allow you to gain points based on how big the wingspan of a card is, for example, or you get points by how many eggs you have at the end of the game. And so many other like factors to give you an ability to win the game, not necessarily based on a singular line of point acquisition. So you don't have to, I have to do it this way. You don't have to. You can do it another way, or this other way, or this third way. It's a very open but closed system of a game. I really enjoyed it. I don't remember the incomplete scaling, what every number is allocated as, but I think this is probably...
Wait. Before you say your number, should we just go through everyone what we're thinking and then give up the ranking? So it doesn't
if you want to.
Sure, we can do that.
Oh.
So this is my third, fourth time or so playing Wingspan. I like the game. Obviously want to play it again because I do. It's a game that you and Oyan told me about after you opened this store. It's one of the games that you trialed before opening the doors.
Indeed.
And you said that it's a fantastic game. You really hyped it up for me. And the game actually lived up to the hype. It sort of takes the spot of games like Ticket to Ride, for example. Games that sort of every household maybe should own, instead of Monopoly.
Never Monopoly.
Never Monopoly. It's sort of... it's a wholesome game. It's a fun game. It's an easy game.
Actually, for children, or everyone really, it's somewhat instructive as well, because you have the bird names and the bird images.
Yeah.
So you can like learn birds as you play it.
And a small box of information about the bird on the bottom.
Yeah. I'm not a super fan of the theme, because the theme sort of... it's complete. So the theme is throughout the game. It works, but it's not super interesting to me. I'm not a bird fanatic, but for anyone who likes bird, that's just a bonus. The theme isn't necessary for the game to be good.
No, it's not necessary, but it is a small added bonus.
Yeah.
Like you have the common name of the bird in English, obviously. It might be translated to other
but for me, that could be swords, weapons. It could be anything. It doesn't...
Yeah,
I don't think...
it's not necessary for it to be birds,
Yeah.
but for me, it was interesting because you have the common English name and the Latin name and a little description of the bird.
Yeah. But for my sort of like my enjoyment of the game, it doesn't really add much value. As I said, it's birds and it's eggs that you add to the cards. It could have just as easily have been like weapons and sort of like whetstones that you add. Doesn't really make a difference.
No, but I feel it would have been slightly less interesting.
Why?
I don't know, but I just feel like that.
Could be the length
I
of
like
the weapons and stuff.
Yeah, I like weapons,
yeah.
by all means.
But that's the point. It doesn't have to be something you like for you to still enjoy the game as much.
Yeah.
Because that's often the thing with games that I feel like the theme needs to sort of be interesting to you for the game to be fun. If there's a heavy theme. But in this one, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's a very light theme.
Yeah, you don't need to like birds to like Wingspan.
No, true. Very true.
And the entire game looks pretty good. I like the eggs.
The eggs are very fun.
Yeah. I think the food, sort of like the food, the bird food.
The resources.
Could have been better. Currently, they're just round things with images on them.
You mean for like the tactile experience could have been more nice. Yeah, I agree with you.
Could it have been cubes? Could it have
yeah,
been
but then you also increase the price of the game, so
you do.
It's a balancing game. You
do.
could have like an exclusive version,
or just have the game be 100 kroner extra. It's a fairly cheap game.
Yeah, how much is it?
I think it's just like 400 or 500 kroner.
No, I think it's around 700.
Is it that much?
Oh, is it that much?
I thought it was less.
It's very replayable though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's an easy add-in or replacement for Ticket Ride, which is a very common game to find, especially in Norway or in the world.
What do you think, Kenneth?
Just to start to build a bit of what you said, because I played this game 15, 20, 25 times. And it's the first game that's really proven to me that games, if they're good enough, the theme doesn't have to matter at all. As long as like bird theme is probably the least favorite theme I could have on a board game. I don't care shit about birds, but the game is still fantastic. And over to the thing about it replacing Ticket to Ride and replacing Monopoly and all these. This is the game I take up every time I play with someone who's new. Every time I play with someone who doesn't know what they want to play. Like, this is the go-to game, just to get the game night started. So I think it's a fantastic game. It's easy to learn. Every game I played with a new tactic. And again, I played it 20 times, plus minus. And so every game time I play it, I take a new tactic. I go for a new strategy. And it works. There's so many strategies that works. Every game I play, also, I never feel like I'm out of the game. I feel like I'm in it till the end. So it's just so well made. I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's a game that you can take with you anywhere. Before we get to the ranking, I just want to talk about something. And for anyone who wants to see us play this game and haven't seen us play it yet, you should stop watching now. Watch the game night video and then come back to the ending of this episode. Because Kenneth, is the streak alive?
Kenneth, look at me. If we both say that the streak is not alive right now, it's not. Because we have it's here.
I agree.
On the podcast, that matters.
I agree, but my mommy told me not to lie. So the streak,
I also don't like. God damn it!
the streak is alive.
The streak is alive! The streak is alive!
For now.
Okay, moving quickly away from that. The ranking table, because you asked about that, is...
I believe...
One is
Monopoly.
Two is...
it's a bad game.
Stay away.
Yeah, stay away.
3 is...
Wouldn't play it again.
Will not play again.
Yeah.
4 is...
Not something I'll bring with me to play.
Not recommended yet.
Yeah, not recommended.
5 is...
Yeah.
Okay. 6 is...
6 is like, yeah, I could play it again.
Would play it again. 7 is...
I would recommend it.
I would recommend it.
I see now that we should
8
switch the places on 6 and 7. Because not recommended and recommended should be opposites on 5.
Yeah. True.
So
But
7 should be would play again.
We will
No,
fix
I
that
think
at another
recommended-
time.
I think recommended is stronger than would
So
play
yeah,
again.
7 is recommended.
Yep.
And
8
8 is I would bring it with me.
No, it's a very good game.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
9 is...
I would bring it along almost every time.
Always bring it along.
Yeah.
10 is...
Perfect.
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 And from that, you'll give it...
7 was recommended, correct?
7 is recommended.
So I would give it like 7.8. We can probably call it an 8.
Okay. Go for an 8. Sindre?
I'm struggling on this one. Because I want to say I'll always bring it along, but I wouldn't. Not always.
Yeah, it's the same for me, but it's very, very close.
If I'm going home to someone to sort of like introduce them to board gaming, if I'm going home to like my sort of like friends and family and stuff like that, people who are not into gaming, who are not huge geeks, who don't love tabletop gaming, I would always bring it along. But if I'm going home to my geekiest of geeky friends who always play tabletop games, even though if they haven't played a Wingspan, I would probably bring something else.
Yeah, but that's more a question of context.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can say that about any game.
Mm.
Even perfect
I know,
games.
I know. No, not really. There are games that I would say that I always bring it along, just in case they might want to play it. That's sort of what always bring it along is to me.
Yeah.
So then it's more for 7.
So I would say it's an 8.4, 8.5. Let's round it to 5 because I don't want to do these small fractions. 8.5.
8.5.
Oh yeah, 9 was I'll always bring it.
Yeah.
So an 8 for me is good.
And then for me, I completely disagree with you. It's a game I always bring along. It's perfectly on always bring along. Because it's not necessarily that, okay, I'm going to the gig with friends, they might not want to play it. But it's like, if we have 1.5 hour that we don't have anything to play, Wingspan is the perfect game to put up and just have fun with it around.
I would say one thing, though. The resources are kind of... It's a little bit of work to set it up.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah.
But like it's a little bit too much of a setup for a quick game.
Yeah, but it is.
But it is very, very, very quick.
Yeah, it is it's a 1 hour game, so I feel it's like appropriate amount to set up for 1 hour of fun.
For me, it will never be an in-between game. It will never be sort of a game I bring to do something while we're not doing anything, if you know what I mean.
No,
it's a game you set up to play the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in the scenario where, what are we going to play?
Yeah.
What should we play? We don't have anything to play.
It's an easy...
Wingspan always...
what should we play? I don't know. Wingspan.
Yeah. Say we played Twilight Imperium. Twilight Imperium is a big game. Say we played a 3-4 hour game. And the clock is like 10 o'clock and everyone's not, we don't want to go home yet. What should we play? Don't even have any games? Then Wingspan is like, yeah, sure, Wingspan.
Yeah, fair.
Good game, really good game. So it's a perfect 9 for me.
I stand by my 8. Maybe a strong 8.
I am now very tired of Wingspan because I really want to get onto our next thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to spin the wheel.
The wheel.
But I don't have any computer in front of me.
I have the power.
So for the first time since the start of our podcast, Kenneth will be spinning the wheel.
Yeah. And the fun thing about this is that every time you spun the wheel, I've always been calling for a particular game. So let's cheat it forward.
It's not on the list, though.
It's on the list.
I'm going to make
it's on the list.
I'm the one looking at the screen.
Nope.
So I'm gonna
no.
I'm gonna check you.
Okay. It's gonna be Nemesis. I promise you.
Not gonna be
Let's
Nemesis.
Come on, Nemesis. Oh, it's gonna be a Nemesis. I don't have to go say. And it's Ticket to Ride.
Really?
Yes.
Talk about the sun.
About Ticket to Ride.
So we just talked about the game that almost all of us said the words, this is the game that replaces Ticket to Ride.
So last week we played the new game.
Yeah.
Now we're playing the old.
But it's going to be fun. It's a staple.
Ticket to Ride is a good game.
It's a staple of board games.
Yes.
And it's that for a reason.
It's one of the first games that I fell in love with after Settlers of Catan, which is my OG love.
The same way for me. Catan, then into Ticket to Ride.
So I'm looking forward to next week to play Ticket to Ride again. It's been a while.
I feel Ticket to Ride, though we will discuss this on the next podcast, Ticket to Ride is kind of the game that's at the cabin now.
Yeah.
It's like you had Monopoly and Chinese checkers, and you had old Hunting for the Diamond game that I don't remember the name for anymore.
Diamond,
now you have Ticket to Ride.
It's just
Diamond.
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 It's just called Diamond?
Yep.
Yeah, so now you also have Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
But that's the place Wingspan is occupying now. Starting to occupy.
It should occupy.
It is starting to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a good podcast. It's good to be back with you guys.
It's been a good podcast for the first time in a month.
Finally back.
So in 2 weeks, we're going to record another episode. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoy what we're doing here, please leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell if you want to get the next video we upload as soon as we do. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
See you next time.